It looks like the House is voting tonight on the $2 trillion Build Back Better plan. So let's go through it. You guys ready? All right. This is from the Washington Post. House readies vote on $2 trillion spending plan, but McCarthy delays process late into the night. Of course he did. House Democrats late Thursday appeared on track to adopt a sprawling more than $2 trillion package to overhaul the country's healthcare, education, climate, immigration, and tax laws, even as Republicans sought to delay the vote on a central piece of President Biden's economic agenda. The push by Democrats marked a stark turn for their party after months of intense internal wrangling, reflecting the growing sense of accord among liberals and moderates over the once contentious spending bill. The bill's passage would notch another major milestone for Biden just days after he signed into law a separate effort to invest $1.2 trillion in the nation's infrastructure. Democrats initially hoped to adopt the measure swiftly, but House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy took to the floor in the evening to deliver a marathon speech that had the effect of delaying the vote. McCarthy used the address to attack Democrats over a broad range of issues, including border security and Afghanistan policy, prompting jeers from Democrats, some of whom left as he spoke. Why don't we pass a bill to honor our Border Patrol agents? McCarthy mused at one point as the speech approached the start of its third hour. Holy fuck. Could you imagine listening to that guy's voice for 3 hours? Oh my fucking God, that's painful. You know what you're spending money on? Not to build the wall. McCarthy's fiery evening speech came after Democrats attempted to bring the process to a close. Earlier in the evening, the Congressional Budget Office concluded its analysis of the package, a key step that many Democrats were waiting for. Moderate Democrats had demanded the data to assess whether their party's more than $2 trillion in new initiatives are financed in full. The CBO analysis found that the bill would result in net increase in the deficit totaling $367 billion over the next decade, but the estimate did not include the full savings that could be achieved from some of the Democrats' revenue-raising provisions, including a plan to empower the IRS to recapture unpaid federal taxes. The White House has said that the IRS enforcement alone could capture roughly $400 billion in additional revenue. With that amount factored into the final estimate, Treasury Secretary Janet L. Yellen said in a statement Thursday evening that the legislation known as the Build Back Better Act is fully paid for, adding that over time it would help reduce the deficit as a result of tax policies that ask the wealthiest Americans and large corporations to pay their fair share, a term often coined by Bernie Sanders in his 2016 and 2020 election. The news appeared to satisfy some moderate lawmakers who met privately with top White House officials earlier Thursday. Shortly after exiting the gathering, Rep. Stephanie Murphy of Florida, one of the leaders of the centrist-leading Blue Dog Coalition, said in a statement she intended to vote for the bill despite some additional reservations about the overall size of the legislation. I think we're all united around the desire to have complete information, Murphy later told reporters. Rep. Josh Gottheimer, another party centrist, similarly expressed optimism about the package as he told reporters he continued to review the spending data. The late statements of support provided a fresh jolt of good news for Democrats who had struggled for months to advance Biden's broader economic policy agenda. At the close of the debate, all that remains is to take up the vote so that we can pass this legislation and achieve President Biden's vision to build back better, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told members of her caucus earlier Thursday evening. The roughly $2 trillion measure is vast in its scope. It aims to expand Medicare to include new hearing benefits, lower the cost of some prescription drugs for millions of seniors, provide free pre-kindergarten for all American children, and invest in new sums to combat climate change. It proposes a slew of new aid to help low-income families in greatest need, and it covers its spending through new taxes targeting millionaires as well as corporations that currently pay nothing in federal taxes. Opening debate earlier Thursday in the House, top Democrats took to the floor to stress the popularity of the president's vast spending agenda. Virtually every poll on this piece of legislation has shown overwhelming support for each of the elements we are proposing. Rep. John Yarmouth of Kentucky said. He's the chairman of the Chamber's Budget Committee. They helped craft the legislation. Republicans, meanwhile, blasted the package, labeling it as socialism and arguing it would contribute to an existing trend of rising prices by flooding the economy with more money. Democrats contend their measure would combat inflation, adding Americans who are struggling financially. But Rep. Jason T. Smith of Missouri, the top GOP lawmaker on the budget panel, at one point during the debate, shot back. The American people aren't that stupid. Shepherding the proposal to passage has been an uphill battle for Pelosi, who has only a 3-vote advantage in the House and a fractious caucus to keep intact. Moderates and liberals at times have warred over its spending initiatives, forcing Democrats to scale back their initial package valued at $3.5 trillion in dramatic fashion. Yes, they did. They cut a lot out of it that we needed. They took the teeth out of it. But Pelosi, Biden, and other Democratic leaders helped broker an end to the stalemate over a week of tense negotiations. By Thursday morning, the developments left Pelosi ebullient. Wow, that's an interesting word. I haven't heard that one before. I have to look that one up. Ebullient, that the House was on the verge of clinching a spectacular vision for the future, adding, it will create millions of good-paying jobs, lower families' costs, and cut their taxes while making the wealthiest few and big corporations pay their fair share. A successful House vote Thursday would send the bill next to the Senate, where the chamber's majority leader, it's Chuck Schumer, has said he hopes to conclude consideration of the bill before Christmas. Lawmakers, including Senator Joe Manchin, continue to harbor concerns about the size and scope of the bill. Other troubles also remain, including a fight among Democrats over a provision to address state and local taxes. The House bill would raise the amount that Americans can deduct on their yearly federal returns, a plan that chiefly aids families who live in high-cost states like New York and California. But some liberals say the policy is too generous, largely benefiting wealthy Americans, in a break with the spirit of the bill. The dispute drew in the White House on Thursday when Press Secretary Jen Psaki acknowledged some of the concerns with the proposal to boost state and local tax breaks, a provision known as SALT. It is a component that was initially proposed by the White House, she said. This is a part of a compromise. Amid the squabbling, Democratic leaders on Thursday also maintained that the bill is fully financed, a contention that some cost-conscious centrists continued to evaluate Thursday night. Experts so far have split over the exact cost of the package. Some estimates reflect it as $2.1 trillion, though others believe its cost is closer to $2.4 trillion. If it includes the tax aid provided by lifting the SALT cap. Either way, it marks an uptick from the earlier $1.75 trillion blueprint that Biden helped broker with centrists in Congress, reflecting last-minute additions, including a proposal to provide paid leave to Americans. Pegging the cost at $2.4 trillion, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget released an analysis Thursday that showed the bill could add to the deficit over 10 years based on data furnished by the CBO, but the official congressional scorekeeper did not factor into its calculations the full amount of savings that the White House anticipates from the package that includes a plan to empower, they already said that. They said the same shit twice. Empower the IRS to pursue unpaid taxes. We do need paid leave. McCarthy latched on the IRS provision as part of his lengthy speech Thursday night, alleging the agency would add thousands of officials to audit Americans. The White House previously has said the focus is on stopping rich Americans from cheating on their tax bills. No shit. Yeah, we need to do more. It's got to be more. This is slim pickings. They didn't even get everything in for Medicare. I mean, they're only doing Medicare negotiations on a handful of medications. I think it takes about 10 years for those negotiations to take effect. this hurts us. This is not a good bill. And if they think that the effect of this is going to be enough to push Americans to vote for Democrats in the midterms and in 2024, they got another thing coming. They better figure out what the fuck they're going to do, like right now. And if they're not going to put their fucking, if they're not going to light a fire under their asses over the voting rights bills, then I'm not sure that there's much hope for any more progress in the foreseeable future.